Hey, sweethearts. As promised, I am uploading a video today that is going to help you all. So, the video is determine the main idea. As you can see, I also put central idea, controlling idea, theme, and the big idea because these words are the same. They mean the same thing. They're synonymous. They can be used interchangeably. All right, so what is central idea? What is main idea? Well, I provided a definition, and the definition simply states the central idea or main idea in a piece of writing is the point that the author wants you as the reader to remember most about a subject or a topic. Our subject or our topic of discussion for the next 9 weeks is the teenage brain. So that's our subject, that's our topic. Now, in order for us to determine the central idea, we need to figure out what the author is saying about the teenage brain. What is the point of it all? What point is he making about the teenage brain? The big idea of the whole work, or one section, or a paragraph. That is what we're talking about. What's the big idea? What's the point? Now, with the central idea or main idea, it can be stated, and stated is simply stated directly in the text. The text specifically tells you the main idea. Implied central idea or main idea is when you as the reader, you have to use inference. We have to infer to determine the central idea or the main idea. You already know how to infer. We're going to use our background knowledge with the information that is presented to us by way of the text so that we can determine what is being said. All right, so when we're talking about implied central idea, how do we find that out? Implied is not stated. So we have to do a little bit of thinking. This is how some of you all look in class when I ask you questions right here. So we have to do a little bit of thinking. How do we find it? These are questions that we ask. What do we do, or how do we determine the subject or the topic? So we found the subject, we found the topic. Now what do we do? Well, to determine, so in order for us to find the central idea, we have to determine the subject or topic first. You need a little bit of help with that? No problem. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to look for important words that repeat. Without these words, we will be clueless or lost. Another tip is always to look at the title or the heading. For example, I know you have your books with you, so you can turn in your books to page 3. The title is Teens and Decision Making, What Brain Science Reveals. So what are some clue words from that title? Of course, we got teens, decision making, and brain. These are important words. Okay, now that we found the subject, so now what do we do? So I want you all to write these questions down. We need to determine, what does the writer want you to know about the topic? Or you can make it personal. What does the writer want me to know about the topic? When you come in tomorrow, I'm checking for this. How do the details connect? So now you're connecting the dots. So the details that we read about, how do they connect to each other? How do they relate to each other? And the last question, what larger idea do they explain? We're talking about larger idea. We're talking about something that's big, something that's general. All right? So speaking of details, details do tell. What do the details tell us? Well, first of all, details explain, illustrate, or elaborate on a particular topic or our main idea. Remember, I talked to you all before about the Vickies and the Kenyas. So the Vickies and the Kenya, both, they're going to add to what we are learning about. They're going to explain. They're going to illustrate. They're going to elaborate. They may explain by giving us data or steps. Details are specific pieces of information. They are specific. They are focusing on one particular thing, and they're going to talk about that particular thing. Whereas the main idea statements, they are general, they are broad, they are not specific. So here are a few things that you need to remember. Topic, their words and their phrases. It is not going to be a complete sentence. Your topic is going to be a word or a phrase. And your topic is not the main idea. So on your paper, if you tell me that the main idea is the teen brain, it is incorrect. And I'm going to take off for it. I can hear some of you all now saying my favorite word, zero. Central idea, main idea is what the authors say about the topic. It's a complete statement. It's what the author is saying about the topic. What is the author saying about the word and about the phrase that you all have identified as the topic of this reading? What is the author saying about teens and decision making and how the brain works with that? Your central idea is going to be broad enough to cover all of the details from the text. So when we're talking about your main idea, here are things that you need to know. Your main idea in a paragraph is always going to be that topic sentence. For example, when you all use the race method and I tell you all to restate, that restatement is the topic sentence. The main idea in an essay is going to be your thesis statement, your claim, your focus statement. It is telling the reader what they can expect to read about. Your main idea in literary work is called the theme. So you guys can do this. You've been doing it forever. All right, just so you know, you need to know that main ideas in a paragraph, it can be the first sentence. It can also be the last sentence. It may be the first and in the last sentence. It may be in the middle. Yes, I know this sounds confusing, but guess what? You're smart enough to figure it out. Guess what? That main idea may be implied. The author may not tell you what that paragraph is about. The same thing goes for the essay. Most of the time, you will have a thesis statement in your introductory paragraph. That is the central idea, the main idea. Sometimes your thesis statement may be presented at the end of your essay. Guess what? Sometimes it may be at the beginning in the introduction, or it may be restated at the end at the same time. So that means you need to go back and read the introduction, and you need to read the conclusion and try to figure it out from there. Your thesis statement may be in the middle of an essay. It all depends on that writer, because they can write however they want to write. It's their right to write that way. And guess what? There may not be a thesis statement. It may be, what's the word? Implied. So if it's implied, that means you have to infer. Yes, infer. So let me help you with your homework. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use the homework that I took up today in class to show you what I expect for you to turn in tomorrow. I expect for you to turn in this assignment. All right, so I know you have your books, so I want you to turn to page 9 in your books. This is the assignment that you all turned in. At the very top of your page, you see neurologist notebook you all should have number 2, because your homework today is to complete 30 and 31. And then underneath neurologist notebook, you all will have the article or the text that you need to use to help you all to complete the assignment. All right, so I'm quickly just going to walk you through it. So when we're talking about the main idea, let me go up a little bit. What did we just learn about the main idea? The main idea is the statement about the what? About our subject. I could hear Drayshawn's voice saying subject or topic. You are so correct, Drayshawn. So on page 9, the title of our text is The Teen Brain. It's just not grown up yet. So based on the title, we can deduce that our subject is going to be about what, Miss Clancy? Because I hear you in my head. Correct. The teen, that's 10. Teen brain. So now what do we have to do? We have to figure out the point that the author is making. Sorry, y'all. About what? The teen brain. Okay, so if we read the very first section, the introduction section, we know we have an antidote. We talked about antidote today, and you know that, yeah, I can hear somebody now telling me to go ahead and correct this. I'm going to correct this. We know that the antidote is a short and amusing story about a particular topic. So we learned that Dr. Jensen was going through things with her sons, right? Once they got to a certain age, they started acting crazy. So, based off this information, what can we deduce? What can we infer? We want to know, or Dr. Jensen wants to know, how her teenage son's brain works. And this is helpful to her, right? All right, so that means that the main idea is knowing how Dr. Jensen's son's brain work will be helpful. Helpful for her to do what? Understand her kids, right? Yes. So we're going to type that right there. All right, so we typed in our central idea, our main idea of that particular that particular text. So let's go down to brief background knowledge. Well, if you've read your text on page 9, if you look at the second column, it specifically says, here is the background information that who? The reader. And what are you? You are the reader that you need. So from there, we will pull out some of the important things that are being said about the background knowledge. So what did we learn? We learned about the nerves, right? And how the nerves connect to what? The frontal lobe. What else did we learn? That they need to do what? They need to be coded. All right, so with this background information right here is where you're going to put your background information, okay? So let's put that right there. Okay, so I've added the background information. I put the nerves that connect the frontal lobe needs to be coated with myelin so that the nerve signals can move more freely. The nerves that connect the frontal lobe. Y'all just gonna let me leave that word out, okay? Needs, got it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk about the supporting details very quickly. You're just gonna add details from the text. You need to use your subtitles. Add details that support your what? Support your main topic. You can do that on your own. I'm collecting it tomorrow. Have a good night.